Harlem Renaissance was an intellectual and cultural revival of African American youth. Dance, art, fashion, literature, theater, and politics centered in Harlem, Manhattan, New York City. Spanning the 1920s and 1930s, at the time it was known as the New Negro Movement. Randall Morrow and Shuko will read a part of their reports from the Harlem Renaissance.
The Harlem Renaissance is one of the most powerful and iconic periods in African American history. During that period, Sterling A. Brown was a wonderful poet and influential African American teacher. His poems were nothing short of outstanding. He paved the way for a lot of African American poets out there. This report will be about his early life, rise to fame, and what he's known for today. Sterling Allen Brown was born May 1st, 1901 in Washington, D.C. Early in his childhood, he lived on a farm on Whiskey Bottom Road in Howard County, Maryland. He went to Waterford Oaks Elementary and Dunbar High School, where he graduated at the top of his class. He later got a scholarship to go to Williams College in Massachusetts, where he obtained a bachelor's degree. In 1921, he was awarded the Graves Prize. He later went to Howard University in 1923 to teach, where he would later spend a 40-year teaching career. He married Daisy Turner in 1927, and they had one child together. He rose to fame during the early 1930s. The poem that put him on the map was Southern Road, which was well received by critics. But with the coming of the Depression, he could not find a publisher for his second book. He then focused on his career as a teacher at Howard, where he would teach until he retired in 1969. He wrote the essay The Negro in American Fiction in 1937. Sterling's poetry was inspired by jazz, the blues, work songs, and spirituals. His writings expressed his concerns about race in America. He is known for his honest, practical portraits of black people and their experiences. Some of his poems are Long Track Blues, Old Limb, Southern Road, Memphis Blues, Riverbank Blues, The Ballad of Joe Meek, Mose, and Slim Greer in Hell. He won the Lenore Marshall Poetry Prize in 1981. He is the reason we have many African American poets today. Sadly, he caught leukemia and died on January 13th, 1989 in Tacoma Park, Maryland. He will always be remembered in history as one of the greatest and most influential poets ever.
Louis Armstrong was a famous American trumpeter and vocalist. Louis Armstrong had multiple nicknames. Some of his nicknames were Satchmo, Sarge, and Pops. He was a very influential person. Today, I will be talking about how Louis Armstrong influenced the world. Louis Armstrong was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Louis Armstrong was born on August 4th, 1901. Louis had a tough childhood. His dad, William Armstrong, was a factory worker, but abandoned his family early after he was born. His mother, Mary Albert, often left Louis to his grandmother. Louis was in school until the 5th grade because he had to start working to help his mom out. Louis went to Colored Ralph's School for boys and Fisk School for boys. In 1913, he was sent to the Colored Ralph's home as a juvenile delinquent. There, he learned to play the cornet in a band and started playing music quickly became a passion. Louis Armstrong started his career in 1919 when he was 18 years old. Louis' career first started to blow up in 1922. Louis started leading a band in 1922 in Chicago called the Big Band Jazz. Louis was scheduled to play the second cornet. That's when Louis started to gain popularity for his clever ensemble. Louis won three Grammy Award nominations for his vocal performance of Hello Dolly in 1964. Louis had three siblings: William Armstrong, Henry Armstrong, and Denise Armstrong. Louis also had 2 kids and was married to 4 different women at 4 different times. His kids were Sharon Preston and Clarence Armstrong. His first wife was Davy Parker, and they were married from 1919 to 1923. His second wife was Harlem Armstrong, and they were married from 1924 to 1936. His third wife was Alpha Smith, and they were married from 1938 to 1942. His last wife was Lucid Wilson, and they were married from 1992 till his death. He died from a heart attack in his sleep on June 6, 1971. And those are just a couple of people from the Harlem Renaissance.